All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. This one's going to be the top 3 stocks for the week, and we're going to talk about a few things here, such as what are the 3 stocks. I'm going to give you guys my levels for each one of these 3 stocks, and then my SPY analysis and QQQ analysis, and also talking about a couple of news. First thing, let's go over the news here, which is obviously Biden saying that he is resigning, basically. Not really resigning, but rather he's not going to run for president on the next election, and he's endorsing his vice president Kamala Harris as the next candidate, basically. And as Elon Musk says, bro, finally, and I agree, I like it. It's supposed to have happened already. He shouldn't be running for a second term. And the reason I say this is because my guy barely can speak. If you've seen the debate, you know what's been happening. I don't think either one should be running. But again, at this point, I think Trump kind of won in a sense. And the Democratic Party just needs somebody else who can maybe compete at the same level as Trump. I don't think they have anyone that can do that. But at this point, Joe Biden is definitely not winning. And I think Trump is pretty much got it in the bag. And I obviously can see Michelle Obama's trending, and a lot of other things are trending. But yeah, that's kind of the big news for this weekend, and we'll see how the market reacts to this. I don't know if they're actually going to react to it in a negative way. I think maybe this might actually be a positive thing for the market. I don't know, maybe we see some nice bounces off of the market this coming week, which is what I am expecting. But I will have to say that technicals don't support a bounce. Again, we will see what happens. So what I want to kind of talk about is what the technicals are telling us. And there are a couple of things the technical chart of SPY and QQQ is telling me. And that is we do have a lot of support underneath. So it's going to take a lot of work for the market to break down and, get down to, the 520s and the 530s for the SPY. But I will say we do have a possible green to red EMA crossover that could happen this coming week, along with flow almost turning negative. So if, let's say, we start breaking under 546, 545 this coming week on the SPY, the EMA might actually turn red, and that could create more selling pressure towards 540. I think 540 is probably going to be the biggest support that you have on the SPY. And I think once the 540 breaks, we'll see this little gap to 537 and definitely going to go to like 530s, because that 540 support is going to be very important. So gotta watch that level, very important. And if the technical charts are showing us more bearish signs this coming week, obviously I'll be playing more puts than calls. But at the time of recording this, obviously market is still not quite bearish, and the trend lines are still fairly holding up. If I draw a basic trend line from here to here, you can kind of see we're still uptrending. Nothing has changed in that scenario. The biggest red flag, I would say, is if we break this blue EMA cloud that you see here. If we start breaking under, I would say 540, again, that level is the bottom of that blue EMA. That 540 break is going to signal bearishness. We're going to see negative flow. You're going to see EMA, the green EMA going from red to green to red, the blue EMA breaking and potentially heading down towards maybe purple. And again, it's just a lot of signs that this could be the top for now, heading into the next couple of weeks. But again, it's an election year. You never know, right? But I will say it is pretty healthy that the market pulls, because again, if you see from here where we had green EMA cloud all the way up here as the market was uptrending, and then we see a nice bit of a red EMA cloud right here, or when we have a EMA crossover, and then we see a bit of a red cloud going down. And these pulls that you see, that's about a week or two of red days / consolidation days before another uptrend builds. And that's healthy, because without a pullback, the next leg up is very difficult. You can't keep playing calls to the upside without a decent pullback to bounce the market back up, right? So that's kind of the idea. If SPY does hold around, I would say this 548, 549, then if it holds for like a couple of days, then you can see a nice consolidation and bounce back to all-time highs again. Something to look forward to. But again, I'm liking the market turning bearish, and if it does go for a nice couple of weeks of bearishness before the next bounce, that would be great. Just to point out, QQQ, very similar situation here as well, but a little bit cleaner, right? If with QQQ, you can see that the green EMA cloud has turned red. You also see that we have a negative flow with sell signal. But the biggest thing is we haven't really broken this big level of support here around, I would say, this 474. If we do break 474, 473, I think that's when we're going to see those 460s coming in. And based on all of the negative factors that I see here, it's very possible that we can see that drop come in. I will say this looks a lot more like a head and shoulder pattern. And again, head and shoulder pattern is a bearish pattern, but we haven't done the second shoulder yet. So we got a shoulder here, we got the head built. We haven't done the second shoulder, which in turn tells us that once the second shoulder is built, we see more downside, right? So it could be a head and shoulder pattern that is starting to build. We need the second shoulder to form, but based on how the chart looks, maybe in order to do the second shoulder, we might need the QQQ to do a nice bit of a bounce. And that bounce is from a 474, 475 back up to roughly like the 486, 487. So it's about a 10-point bounce or so before the second shoulder is formed and we start going back down again. So something to look forward to and watch for sure. As you know, with some of these tech stocks and Nvidias and semiconductors being bearish a little bit last week, the market did turn around and drop quite a bit. And I think it was pretty overdue. So that's something that we kind of have to look forward to. All right. Now, the next thing I want to kind of point out is there's a lot of earnings that are coming up. So that will also move the market quite a bit. But, earnings are very unpredictable. We don't really need to rely on the earnings to decide which way the market goes. Market will ultimately choose what it's best for itself. I will say Bitcoin is moving up pretty nicely, and that will be very important to watch because one of our plays on our top 3 stocks is Coinbase. Now, before I go into Coinbase and talk about our top 3 stocks for the week, I want to point out to you guys that there is a promo code that I am currently running for the private group. All you have to do is click on the link in the description or go to wap.com/SmartTrader. Click on the monthly, get access, and then use this code SALE 50. If you do sale 50 and then you apply, it will give you 50% off of the first month of the monthly subscription. And yeah, just take advantage of it if you want to get into the room and get all my alerts and morning notes of stocks that I'm looking at, and all of the earnings that are coming up this week. We're going to be playing those as well, and so on and so forth. So take advantage of this. The code is SALE50, SALE 50, and you can sign up for the private group. All right, with that, let's go over Coinbase. Now, Coinbase, this is my main one to watch for a Bitcoin play. Now, Bitcoin's gapping up over 1%, and that means that most likely Coinbase is going to gap up tomorrow. So what you're looking for is a couple of things here. You're looking for 264, 265 to break out for a potential run to 280 to 285. Now, around this area is your all-time high for Coinbase. Well, maybe not all-time high. All-time high is like way up to like 400. But this setup is pretty interesting. The reason I say this is because we actually have a sort of an inverse head and shoulder here, which means a very large inverse head and shoulder. This is considered a bullish pattern. So once we are starting to curl back up, it looks very, very interesting, right? It looks like it might actually go up a lot, especially with Bitcoin running so much. If I zoom in and I look at it in a more in-depth way, this looks a lot like a cup and handle pattern where we got a handle breakout, and we should potentially go to that high. Now, this is definitely a 52-week high right here that we could be looking for. So that 280 to potentially 300 this coming week is very, very likely. And I am looking to kind of play some of these 280 calls, maybe 285 calls to get there and hit that 280, 285, and then potentially go to 300 afterwards. So very, very nice chart setup. I definitely don't want to short it because it is pretty bullish. I will point out one thing is that your flow is still red, but very, very close to being green. The other thing I'll point out is that earnings is coming up soon, August 1st, as according to, according to TradingView, is on August 1st. So just don't hold it into earnings because that's very risky, but definitely look to play it this week as we head into earnings, which would create more volatility to the upside. So definitely like the way it looks. First area of breakout is 264 to 265. That will send us towards, I would say, around 270 to 272, and then after that 272 you have room towards 280 to 285 and all-time highs. So that's basically the idea. Really like the way this looks. Great chart. Definitely going to be playing it. The second stock that I want you to pay attention to is CrowdStrike. Now, as you know, CrowdStrike this week had a pretty big drop because of the whole worldwide outage situation, and I think they fixed it, right? So to me, this feels like a very big overreaction, and all I'm looking for, assuming that the market doesn't go crazy red, because CrowdStrike will follow that, assuming the market stabilizes, I'm looking to see if we can start running this stock up and start filling that gap on the upside. Now, it has dropped a lot. Like, this is a massive drop. We went huge on the downside, 38 points, but at the bottom right here it was 271, so it was like 60-70 points on the downside. It's a very big drop on CrowdStrike. So for me, what I'm looking for in order to play it to the upside, I want to go ahead and long it, assuming we break somewhere around 315, 316. We start breaking 315, 316, we're going to start filling the gap to 335, which is a really nice gap fill here, and I want to take advantage of it. Okay. On the downside, however, let's say CrowdStrike is bearish. You want to short this stock. Under 300 is definitely a short, but I would say the better short would be under 290. If it breaks under 290, we're going right back to 270 and maybe even lower. I don't think that that's going to happen because this is a big short cover bounce back up. As you can see, a lot of people came in and dip bought the stock at these 270s, but I want to see if we can kind of reclaim to 315 and start breaking through 320s, 330s, 340s, and basically get back to where it was before the news dropped. So definitely a stock that I'm looking to play on the long side, and if it does give me the short, I'll try and catch it, but I like it more as a long. All right, last but not least, the final stock on the list is Adobe, and there is a pretty interesting setup here on Adobe on the daily that I want to point out to you, is the fact that it looks bearish. Now, again, I don't know what the market's going to do. Market could be very big and bullish tomorrow, and Adobe doesn't care about this chart pattern. But based on purely technical analysis, we have a green EMA about to turn red. That signals more downside. That, kind of technical analysis-wise, it matches with the SPY and the QQQ and their bearishness. Not to mention, we have a sell signal with negative flow. And this negative flow, it's been almost honestly, it's been a whole month of positive upward trend after their last gap up right here on earnings, and this is the first sign of negative flow that we're getting, so there's a good chance we see a nice drop on it. Now, the key here is how much can it drop, and the drop is actually really interesting because once we start breaking below 548, 550 for sure, but 548, we have a fair value gap all the way down to 535, and that is very attractive because that means we have a nice 15 points, 13 points drop on the downside. That's a big drop. That's a lot of room to fill on the downside, and it matches really nicely with the support right here at 535 because that's previous technical chart support and also the blue EMA cloud support there. So to me, this looks like a really clean drop to 535, and I'm going to be looking to get that play. I'll probably do a 535, maybe a 540 put, and try to catch this move this week. I really like the way this setup looks, and I am more bearish on it than bullish. However, if on the off chance we do see it curl back above 570, you can go for a long to push it to all-time highs again towards 580 and maybe 585. But I like it more as a short, and that's what I'm going to be playing for. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And as always, take advantage of the promo code SALE50 to get into the private room, and you'll get 50% off of the monthly. The monthly is 40, so 50% off is 20. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Peace.